What if I told you that a serial killer evaded capture for 22 years, even though the police had his DNA? In the early hours of August 10, 1985, a woman named Deborah Jackson was found dead on a sidewalk in Los Angeles. She had been shot 3 times with a .25 caliber handgun and dumped out of a car. The crime shocked the city, and the police were determined to catch the killer. But as the years passed, more and more women were found murdered in the same way. The killer became known as the Grim Sleeper, and he terrorized the city of Los Angeles for over 2 decades. In this video, we're going to tell the true story of the Grim Sleeper. We'll look at how he evaded capture for so long, and we'll explore the factors that allowed him to continue killing with impunity. We'll also talk about the impact that the Grim Sleeper's crimes had on the city of Los Angeles, and we'll discuss how he was finally caught after all these years. So, if you're interested in true crime stories, or if you simply want to learn more about one of the deadliest serial killers in American history, then be sure to watch this video. Many people called him that nickname due to the lengthy gap in his murders. After all, the Grim Sleeper took a 14-year break from killing people between 1988 and 2002. Despite an intense investigation by Los Angeles Police Department, the Grim Sleeper evaded capture for over 2 decades. It wasn't until 2010, when advances in DNA technology allowed investigators to link the murders to a single suspect, that they made an arrest. Let me explain what happened. The state of California collected DNA from state prisoners and filed them in a massive database. But when the Grim Sleeper's DNA didn't match existing samples, authorities needed to think outside the box. The police suggested searching for DNA matches that could potentially be connected to the Grim Sleeper. And after the idea was approved by California Attorney General Jerry Brown, authorities began using familial searches to track down the infamous murderer. According to the LA Times, computers produced a comprehensive list of people who might be related to the Grim Sleeper. But one of them stood out from the rest. It shared a genetic marker with the DNA found at each of the 15 crime scenes. And after conducting a thorough investigation, authorities determined that Christopher Franklin was probably the Grim Sleeper's son, based on the genetic connection. It didn't take long for undercover police to make progress. An officer tracked down Lonnie Franklin Jr., the alleged Grim Sleeper, by following him to a local pizza parlor. The officer wore a disguise, posed as a busboy, and collected dishes that Franklin had used. Thankfully, sufficient DNA evidence needed to link Franklin to the crimes was found in an untouched pizza crust, a napkin, and a drinking glass. Many residents of Los Angeles were perplexed at how the Grim Sleeper evaded capture for 22 years. But some believe he had inside knowledge of the police investigation, or was being protected by someone in law enforcement. Quoting an article published by Vanity Fair, Christopher, the Grim Sleeper's son, told me his father had a lot of fans in law enforcement. Some police officers actually admired Lonnie for cleaning up the streets. That seemed to me too incredible. That a serial killer could be a person who was respected within certain sections of law enforcement. Franklin was eventually arrested and charged with 10 counts of murder, as well as the attempted murder of a woman in Neatra, Washington, who narrowly survived being shot. "You're truly a piece of evil," she told Franklin during his sentencing. "You're a Satan representative. You're right up there with Charles Manson." After a lengthy trial, Franklin was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to death in 2016. "This is not a sentence of vengeance," said Superior Court Judge Kathleen Kennedy. "It's justice."